Hey guys, Comic Boom here to give advice to various people who send me emails from all over the multiverse. And tonight we have a very special email received from Lois Lane of Earth Designate Zero. Lois Lane has emailed me wanting some advice. I think she wants some relationship advice. And in any event, there's been a lot of talk of Wonder Woman lately, and of course, I've certainly given my fair share of advice to the Princess of Themyscira when she has emailed me for advice. But today, we're going to forget about Wonder Woman, and we're going to see what is up with Lois Lane. So I say, let's get right to it, shall we? And Lois Lane's from Earth Designate Zero. And for those of you who don't know, we live in a multiverse. This has recently been revealed. We have survived something called death metal. We've survived the Batman Who Laughs. We've survived the tyranny of Perpetua. And we have very fortunately been designated. We are in an orrery of worlds, and we are, in fact, my understanding is we are Earth 33. We are essentially what used to be called Earth Prime. We are, unfortunately, in the eyes of many, we are the only Earth in the multiverse that does not have superheroes on it. But I will submit to you that we are probably the least dysfunctional Earth in the multiverse. And believe me, you're going to figure that out soon when we give advice to Lois Lane. So Lois Lane, Lois was kind enough to send me an email requesting my advice. And we're going to get to that email right now. All right. So here it is. This is from, it says, Dear Comic Boom. Again, this is from Lois Lane of Earth Designate Zero. First, she says, Dear Comic Boom, first let me say that you are easily the most arrogant broadcaster that I have ever listened to in the multiverse. Well, thank you, Lois. I do try. And given the fact that there are literally trillions of people that we're talking about, for me to be considered by you the most arrogant, well, I know that's saying something. Believe me. But don't worry, Lois. We'll be talking a lot more about you in a second. She goes on, however, on the advice of an Amazonian friend, I thought I would seek your counsel since you apparently set her straight about her relationship with her significant other. And I'm just going to interject right there and say, I in fact did do that. She's referring, of course, to Diana Themyscira, who, in the midst of the death metal battle, Diana herself, the goddess of truth, she, in fact, emailed me for some advice. She's having relationship problems at the union like you would not believe. As you can imagine, Wonder Woman of Earth Designate Zero. She is a royally, deeply, I won't say disturbed woman, but she's got her priorities really screwed up. And man, oh man, I feel sorry for Steve Trevor. But, hopefully that relationship is on the mend. Thankfully, the advice that I gave Diana, it's nice to see that it probably went to it's sunk in, because let's face it, if Diana of Themyscira and by the way, I will be playing that broadcast, that advice that I gave to Diana of Themyscira. I have to work it out with the legal department there. Apparently, there's some sort of legalities about copyright in between the different universes, different Earths. I didn't know there was a multiversal treaty on copyright, but apparently there is. But in any event, the simple fact of the matter is that Diana comes from an isolated island. There's only 3,000 or to 10,000 Amazons on it. She was even unclear about that. She's trying to remain so secretive while at the same time she wants advice. And so it took a while for me to sort of get Diana to open up. And of course, because we were only doing communications through email, it takes time to get all that information, to get the correct information. Because look, people, I can only help you if you're honest with me. And I say to all the people listening on all the various 52 worlds in the orrery of worlds in the multiverse, Comic Boom, I can help you. But you have to be honest with yourselves. And you got to be able to take honest, constructive criticism. And to the credit here, Lois Lane is, she's putting aside her normally arrogant self to actually ask my advice. And so kudos to her. But anyway, she goes on. She goes, Anyways, she says, my husband's name is Clark. He is really Superman. Recently, he revealed his secret to the rest of the universe. I thought it was a great idea at the time, but lately I've been having second thoughts. Interesting. By the way, Lois, if you're undoubtedly listening to this podcast, I can assure you, Lois, that we actually know quite a bit about you. You may not know this, but Earth 33, you're on Earth Designate 0, and Earth 33, we are actually privy to what happens in your life and all the secrets that you have, because your life story, you're the drama of your life. And believe me, I know there's a lot of drama. And I know that your suffering is largely self-inflicted, which you probably don't believe, but don't worry, I'm going to set you straight on that. The fact is, we're privy to a lot of your secrets. And so that's why I, Comic Boom, am able to give you a lot of very keen insights into the numerous flaws of your character that's causing you such misery. Now, continuing on, you seem to be worried about Superman here. Lois, she continues. He is more distracted by now. I think you meant now, Lois. Lois, man, you're not very good at typing, man. You should let somebody proofread your work before you email it out. Maybe you should let Clark proofread your emails before you send them to me, so I don't sound like a fool reading your foolishness. But in any event, he is more distracted now than ever before. Well, that's interesting. He is always looking off in the distance. I always assumed it was because Hugh is looking. I think you meant he is looking at natural disasters or people in danger that he could potentially help. But I fear he is cheating on me. Uh-oh. Now, why would Superman want to cheat on Lois Lane? Lois, are you sure about that? It's just low self-esteem. Well, let's continue on. It is, you think that he's cheating on you. Interesting. When he disappears, it is often just for a minute or two, and he is back right away. He can accomplish a lot in just 2 minutes. Believe me, I know. Ooh, Lois, should we read between the lines of that? Well, how much does he accomplish with you in 2 minutes, Lois? Or rather, should I say, what do you accomplish with him? Wow. In any event, Lois goes on, he does not appreciate how great I am. Lois, you think you're great? Well, that's revealing. He does not appreciate how great I am. I am an award-winning reporter. I helped discover who Leviathan was. Leviathan. Is that somebody important, Lois? Because I can tell you, on our planet, nobody cares who Leviathan is. That I can guarantee you. But anyways, good for you. You helped discover who Leviathan was. You even have your own apartment in Chicago, and you let him live in Metropolis. Oh, well, how nice of you. Where you choose to visit him from time to time, and you also meet up with your son, who used to be 10, but is now 17 and spends most of his time in the future. Sorry, she says, I babble. Lois, don't worry. I know that you babble. If in your defense, we have a writer here on Earth 33. He's been writing a lot of your dialogue. That's why you babble so much. My apologies. On Earth, when people babble like that, we call it Bendis talk. In your universe, I guess you just call it talking with Lois Lane. But in any event, your question, Lois, is, I'm married to Superman. Why am I so unhappy? And how do I get my husband to respect me more? Well, Lois, you're talking to the right person. And I'm so glad. Thank you for your email. And thank you to everybody watching. Please feel free to send me your emails. I'll be happy to give you relationship advice. No matter what universe you're from, anywhere in the multiverse, just identify your name and what Earth and planet what Earth you're from in the multiverse, or any planet for that matter, and I will be happy to set you straight, because let's face it, it's tough out there. I mean, there's always a crisis, right? There's always a crisis out there. Death crisis, multi-crisis, infinite crisis, final crisis. Nothing's ever final. No such thing as death. Good God, we can't even escape this universe by dying, because apparently now we keep getting reborn. So look, guys, the good thing about living in the DC multiverse is that we always get second and third and fourth chances to get it right. So Lois Lane, all hope is not lost. We can help you deal with your screwed up life. But first of all, Lois, let's identify what the primary problem is here, because you seem to be a little bit off in your thinking. First of all, Lois, I think it would really behoove you to understand that, in fact, Lois, and this is very important, and I want to focus on this. In fact, Lois, the problem is not Superman, it's you. It really is you, because you're extremely egocentric. Now, this is maybe tolerable at first, but But I mean, really, the advantage you take of Clark Kent is, I mean, it really is just inexcusable. Let's be honest, Lois. We have to put our cards on the table. We have to talk some truth here. Truth. And when I'm talking truth, I'm not talking about Superman, Clark revealing his identity to the world, which, by the way, what an asinine thing to do. I guess you don't feel that your life's in danger now that your husband reveals his identity to the world. Now, why would he do that? Why would Clark Kent want to reveal his identity to the world? Did it occur to you, Lois? Did it occur to you that before he met you, it never occurred to him to reveal his identity to the world? But it took what? About 10, 11 years of marriage to you for him to determine that he just wanted to give it all up and reveal his identity to the world. And now you suspect he's cheating on you? I wonder what happened there. Could it be that maybe he had another motive for revealing his secret identity to the world? Because I gotta tell you, Lois, there's an awful lot of women there in the multiverse, and we know that the one person who's capable of accessing the multiverse is Superman. See, we don't have a Superman on our Earth. Earth 33 doesn't have superpowered beings, but yours does, and you're married to him. But I tell you what, I would imagine he's gone an awfully lot, isn't he? Now, but Lois, let's be honest here. Really, it's target talk time. Let's get serious. Why would Superman want to cheat on you? I mean, really. I mean, let's look at all the ways you've been such a stellar wife, shall we? Now, Lois, I just want to say, everything I say to you, Lois, it's going to sound like I'm being judgmental, but I'm not. Remember, everything I say, Lois, I say with compassion. I say with compassion because you need compassion. Somebody has to be able to give you some straight talk. And that's why Wonder Woman recommended that you call me, because I set her straight. And let me tell you something. It's hard to set a feminazi straight from Themyscira. But I did that. And if I can help Wonder Woman, I can help you. But you have to keep an open mind. And you have to keep your mouth shut and listen. And don't interrupt this broadcast with more nonsense emails. Okay? Just let me answer. Just let me help you. Okay, now first thing is, you have to understand that when you keep secrets from your husband, he's going to get pissed off. And if he's not pissed off, it's because he is a snowflake. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute, I'm married to Superman. He's not a carpet. How dare you say that? Superman, my husband's beat up anybody. He's beat up everybody. Well, he has, but he's not been able to beat up you because emotionally, you know how to control him, Lois, and you do that. And the fact of the matter is, Lois, is that you feel inadequate around Superman, and that's why you try to compensate all the time. I mean, let's face it. You were never a very good reporter, right? I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. You won your first Pulitzer after Clark joined the Daily Planet. Every major award you've ever won has been for a Superman story. Now, you draw a connection there? And do you think it's a coincidence that every time you got a major award, it had to do with a Superman story? You think that's a coincidence? You think it's a surprise that you managed to get the story and Clark Kent didn't? Of course he let you get the story. Oh man, it's so cute that you think otherwise. Look, Lois, you're just a human being. He's a Kryptonian, okay? I mean, he had an ulterior motive to make you believe that you were a competent reporter. He wanted to get laid. Now, this might shock you, but perhaps on Earth 33, people are more realistic. But I can guarantee you that while there may not be as much romance on Earth Designated Zero as it is in other areas of the multiverse, the simple fact of the matter is that men are still governed by their penises, Lois. This is just a fact. And Superman is a Kryptonian. And he's the Man of Steel, after all. And the fact of the matter is that he needed to maintain a secret identity. And he did everything he could to prop you up, to get you to notice him. He even let you get stories. He gave you stories that you didn't have to earn at all. I mean, don't you find it kind of pathetic that he's a guy that runs off, he saves the planet? How many times did he save people out of burning buildings? Did he prevent major villains, major supervillains from wreaking havoc? And he did it all selflessly. He didn't care if people knew who saved the day. He didn't care. But along comes Lois Lane, and she's got to publish the story. She's got to put her name in the byline. You know, Superman just wants to save the day and go about his business. But no, Lois Lane wants the story and the Pulitzer. How many Pulitzers have you won, Lois? You selfless bitch. Huh? Give me a break. Enough is enough. But hey, you wanted more than that too. You didn't just want the story. You wanted the man. Not just the man, but the Superman. And you got him, Lois. You got him. And then when you got him, what did you do? What did you do? Well, you had to keep him. And what did you do to keep him, Lois? Well, that was your next obstacle, of course, and that is you had to get pregnant. Because here's the reality, guys. And look, Clark Kent was born and raised on a small farm in Kansas. Statistically speaking, there is at least a 25% chance that Clark Kent's first sexual experience was with a barnyard animal. Now, Lois, I want you to let that sink in for a second. I want you to let that sink in. And look, you've got your sexual experiences too, Lois. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you've had them in your past. I'm sure, look, you're an attractive woman. I'm looking at your picture right now. I think we can all agree you did not get those lips from sucking lemons, okay? We know this. And you certainly didn't get those lips from going to journalism school, for Christ's sake, or whatever passes for journalism school on Earth Designated Zero. I mean, how hard is it really to get a story on Earth Zero? Jesus Christ, all you got to do is walk out your front door and somebody's kicking the shit out of somebody else. I mean, stories are everywhere. Anybody who can't be a competent reporter on Earth Designated Zero should have their head examined, for Christ's sake. Good grief. Oh, my God. We might as well live in apocalypse. I mean, good, my Lord. In any event, Lois, the reality here is that Clark Kent, he's just looking for a good time. He was a farm boy. He just wanted to be loved. That's all he wanted. He just wanted some attention. And he wanted a woman to satisfy him. But what did you do? You hooked him in, you roped him in, you told him what he wanted to hear. You gave him a kid to keep him because it looked good on you. It looked good on you. And we all know, Lois, that the real reason he revealed his secret identity to the world is that you wanted the attention. You wanted the attention. He was showing too much attention to the other superheroes. Maybe you didn't like what your so-called friend Diana was. Maybe she was spending too much time with him. Maybe that upset you. Maybe you just wanted him to spend more time with you. Maybe you wanted to tell your story to the world, huh? And I'm sure that's going to win you the Pulitzer. Yes, after all, you did marry Superman. Now that the world knows that he's really Clark Kent, you married Clark Kent. But hey, you married Superman. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. And while we're on the subject, Lois, you got to understand here that how you treat the son, how you treat your children is just as important as how you treat your man. And by the way, how's John doing, huh? How's John doing? Yeah, the 10-year-old. How old is John now, Lois? He's got to be what, 10 years old? Oh, wait a minute. No, he's 17 years old, isn't he? But that doesn't bother you, does it, Lois? In fact, it doesn't bother you at all. As a matter of fact, now, Lois, you're probably wondering how I know so much about you. Well, the fact is all your secrets are known to us on Earth 33 because we know the truth of all your bullshit, right? We know that you accompanied your son when he went with his psychopathic grandfather Jor-El into space. We also know that you left your son with the psychopath Jor-El in space, came back to Earth, didn't bother telling your husband that you were back because you thought it was more important to write a story for what you hoped would be, I'm sure, another Pulitzer, as if you don't have enough already. Once again, riding the coattails of your famous superpowered husband. So, are you seeing a pattern here, Lois? Now, again, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but remember, it's straight talk. And I'm going to be giving you some advice here, but first I got to identify the problem. And Lois, I got to say this. It's very important. All the stuff that is going to contribute towards you becoming less than who you are or becoming a better person than you are right now, we can't solve the problem with the same parts that make up the problem. So you're really going to have to remake yourself. I'm going to be blunt. And honestly, as I'm talking to you, I'm feeling more and more sorry for Clark Kent. I wish Clark Kent would Clark, if you're listening, buddy, I know you got a pulse to the multiverse. Calling Clark Kent, Kal-El of Earth Designated Zero, if you're listening. Give Comic Boom an email on Earth Designated 33. We got to talk, my friend. Because you might want to consider reevaluating the integrity of your marriage for multiple reasons. Because the safety of the multiverse may in fact depend on it. Because I got to tell you, Lois, if you think that I'm being hard on you, Lois, good. Because somebody has to. Because how many times do things have to go wrong and for you to make not a big deal out of it, for you to realize that maybe just maybe you're the problem. But guy, let's back up for a second, Lois. Okay, let's back up for a second because there's a number of things that we really need to get on the table here. First, let's talk about the integrity of your job. Lois, you're a terrible reporter, and you overcompensate because you're a terrible reporter. Honestly, I was hoping that Jimmy Olsen would be available tonight, but you were the afterthought. So, but hey, what can I say? I mean, at least Jimmy Olsen is a famous photographer. What do? You write stories for what? You write Superman stories. Like, well, that's a dime a dozen. I got to tell you, you know how many Supermen there are in the multiverse, Lois? There's at least 52. In fact, I think there's even more than that. Because there's multiple versions of them and multiple colors of them and multiple genders of them. That's how common Superman is. So we don't need another Superman story. We need another Superman story like a hole in the head. But hey, whatever. But at least Jimmy Olsen now has the wherewithal to now own the Daily Planet, as I understand. But Lois, yourself, you need to spend more time with Clark. You need to spend more time with him. Because what you focus on grows, Lois. What you focus on grows. And what you ignore doesn't. Why, Lois, why did you tell Clark you wanted to have a hotel, your own separate hotel in Chicago? You wanted your own separate hotel room in Chicago while Clark lived in Metropolis. Do you remember that bright idea you had to somehow save the integrity of your marriage? Remember that little pearl of wisdom? You know, on Earth 33, we can blame a writer named Bendis, but what's your excuse on Earth designated 0? Why would you do that? Why on earth would you want to actually work in Chicago while your husband worked in Metropolis? Now, the last time I checked, the last time a spouse did something like that, they either had an open marriage or they were cheating on their spouse. And yet here you are clearly projecting, suggesting that you believe that Clark is cheating on you? Lois, I say again, you're projecting. Clearly, you're cheating on Clark. Who are you cheating on with, Lois? I mean, you're cheating with somebody. I mean, is the Man of Steel himself inadequate for you? Apparently so. And is that why you don't want your son around? Would you rather have John continue to remain in the 31st century? I mean, you missed 7 years of his life. Do you even care? Do you even care? I mean, good God. Love your family. And look, Lois, I know you have daddy issues. Good Lord, do you have daddy issues? I mean, your dad, Sam Lane, I know he was a piece of work, huh? I mean, he even worked with Leviathan. And what's the best that you can say about Leviathan, Lois? You poor thing, your dad died, fighting Leviathan. Oh, yeah, right. You printed the Leviathan story. You're bragging about helping to reveal who Leviathan was. Good for you. Good for you. Leviathan who? That's what we say on my planet, my Earth. Leviathan who? Nobody cares who Leviathan is. I bet you didn't even win a Pulitzer on your planet for that revelation. Mark Shaw? Who the hell is Mark Shaw? See my point? Lois Lane, your life is meaningless. You got a husband that likely fantasizes about Wonder Woman, sleeps with Lana Lang on the side, and probably is just as likely to have a bonding moment with Jimmy Olsen as opposed to you. You're pathetic. You're pathetic. I'm telling you, somebody's got to tell you this. And it's coming free from Comic Boom. So Lois, get your shit together. Okay? Now all is not lost. Now we've been theorizing something here on Earth 33, where I'm broadcasting from, Lois. So I can tell you this, that it's possible that we have some evil machinations from, apparently there's a connection between Earth 33, where I'm broadcasting from, and Earth Designated 0, where you're from, that a writer that was just writing the adventures of Superman and yourself and Jimmy Olsen, et cetera, by the name of Brian Michael Bendis, has been poisoning the well, and apparently what is written here in our comic books can adversely affect your life on Earth 0. So it's possible that maybe it's not your fault that you're a complete psychotic, crazy bitch. Possible. It's possible. It's possible it's not your fault that you don't know how to type, that you're frankly unlikable, that you don't care where your son lives, that you don't care where your son is, that you don't care that you don't even live with your own husband. It's possible, possible that maybe it's not your fault. But I believe in accountability. And that's what this show's about. Comic Boom is about accountability. And I tell you what, Lois, if you want to change your life, you got to take charge and you got to acknowledge that you are royally screwed up. And Lois, I'm looking at your face right now and you have this perpetual grin on your face like you know some secret that nobody else does, when really deep down, you're just a miserable woman with low self-esteem that just wants to be loved like everybody else. But you just can't stop being a bitch. And that's your problem. That's your problem. And I'm going to suggest to you one thing, that maybe since you got such a nice guy, Clark Kent, he went through his whole life, raised by a couple of old people, Jonathan and Martha Kent, The closest thing he ever came to a relationship was probably his, as a super cow or pet cow or some stupid flying super cat or some goddamn thing. He probably got a hand job from his schoolyard crush, Lana Lang. Although I suspect I always thought Lana was kind of bi. Huh? Is Lana gay, Lois? I don't know, but Lana Lang just always seemed a little off to me. Something about those, those small town redheads. You got to avoid them. I don't know, I love redheads, but something about Lana Lang's just always been off. And by the way, Lois, were you jealous when Lana Lang became Superwoman? You were Superwoman for what, 2 days? You did such a stellar job that they killed you off. Huh? Man, it's got to suck to be you. You've had a rough go of it. You were pretty much, you were a complete afterthought in the New 52. Rebirth comes along. And lo and behold, you have this beautiful son and you're living in the countryside. You're living a great life. You and your 10-year-old son and Clark, you got this beautiful country home. And then lo and behold, Lois Lane wants to move to this city. Lois Lane wants to do an intergang expose and she wants to move to the city and upset everything. How'd that choice work out for you there, Lois? And naturally, Clark doesn't, you got his balls in your purse all the time. And every now and then Clark wants his balls and you give them to him, but only when he's Superman. Because when Clark is Clark doesn't have balls. But when he's Superman, you got him right there, huh, Lois? Right there. You just squeeze every now and then, huh? Where's my Man of Steel? Huh? Where's my Man of Steel? Right, Lois? Good grief. Anyways, man, how can I help you, Lois? How can I help you get past this nonsense? You want to connect better to your husband? You got to stop being a bitch. You got to focus on your relationship. Actually, why don't you let him, first of all, give him his testicles back. That's the first thing. I mean, actually, let him get him back. Let him actually go out and party with Jimmy Olsen. Maybe even let him, swing a little bit. Let him go out there and explore the world. Because I don't know, man. Other than a hand job from Lana Lang when he was younger, and maybe a couple of inappropriate experiences with a barnyard animal, I don't think Clark's had a lot of sexual relations before he met you, man. The guy really should have sown his oats before he got it on with you. That's part of the problem. There's no question about that. And maybe that's even Earth 33's fault, because what we write influences what happens in your universe. And so maybe more relationships should have been written for Clark. I'm hoping maybe you might want to talk to Clark about a certain mermaid. I don't want to disturb you, Lois. I know I just revealed to you that he's probably done a barnyard animal, the hand job from Lana Lang, which I'm sure Lana Lang has not told you about. Although when she thinks about it, she probably puts a smile on her face. And he also screwed a fish named Lori Lamaris. How do you screw a fish? I don't know. Ask Clark. He'll tell you. I'm sure he knows. You ever notice that Clark never goes fishing, Lois? You ever notice that? Do you want to know why Clark doesn't like killing fish? It's because he screwed a fish, and the fish was called Lori. That's why. There's a lot you don't know about your husband, Lois. There's a lot you don't know about your husband, and there's a lot that he doesn't know about you, okay? You guys should get a divorce. You really should, because you're pathetic. And frankly, you're more interesting when you're not together. And the only time you were interesting when you were together is when you had a 10-year-old son that was more intelligent than the both of you combined, which isn't very hard to do. So, what do I suggest? My advice is simply this. Get a divorce. Leave Clark. Let him go, Lois. Let him go. Apologize to him. Don't take any of his property. At least do the nice thing and acknowledge that, at least acknowledge all that he's done for you publicly. Do an article disavowing all your Pulitzer Prize winning articles, admitting that you have no talent and that everything you've ever written has had to be proofread and edited to death. And the misspellings on your email to me say it all. You're not very smart. All right? But hey, Lois, as I said when I first read your email, I wanted you to know that everything I say to you is with compassion. So, look, you are who you are, flaws and all. And look, you're hot. You look great. I have a couple of pictures of you from Heroes in Crisis. You're wearing this long Superman sort of shirt, and you're looking all skimpy and hot and sexy and stuff. You look pretty hot. But you got to have more of those moments, and quit trying to be smart. All right, seriously, you embarrass yourself. Just be Superman's girlfriend. You were more popular when you had your own comic called Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, than you ever were when you had a comic book called Lois Lane. I'm just telling you the way it is. And these are the cold hard facts from Comic Boom. And no, Lois, unlike your therapist, you get all this advice free. That's the good thing about the multiverse. If you capture the right broadcast signal, you get a lot of free advice. Potentially useless information, but free nonetheless. So anyways, guys, Lois Lane, thank you for that revealing email about the ridiculous number of flaws in your existence on Earth, designate 0. And guys, anyone listening out there in the multiverse, if you're a superhero of any kind and you're involved in a relationship and you need some relationship advice, or maybe even advice on a supervillain, please feel free to email me. I will do my best to leave the email link. You can email me at shivamule@me.com, and you can email me your problems, your superhero problems, and I will address them live on the air. That's at shivamule@me.com. Guys, thank you so much for listening, and until next time, Comic Boom out.